So like I said, what we want to do today, like I said, is really just kind of, if you will, finish the model, right? Now, we go to object mode, right? And we can kind of see that there is the little statistics menu up here, right? It kind of looks like a Venn diagram, right? Venn diagrams are those kind of circles that kind of cross each other, right? Have overlap. One of them's kind of a white, and the other one's kind of like see-through. If you click on that, it does bring up options here to kind of turn your grid stuff off, your axes off, so if you don't want those there at all. But it also gives you statistics, right here. And that will show you kind of your overall face count, triangle count for your scene, your models, stuff like that, right? But also, we really want to apply these modifiers because we note that our subdivision surface, the low res, is actually much blockier, right? We were shaping to make this look good with the subdivision surface modifier on. But remember, we were doing that as a shortcut, right? We weren't just going to say, oh, I'm going to turn this off. We're actually going to apply it so that this is what our low res, our base mesh, looks like, because you always want a good-looking low res. Obviously, you could add every edge loop by hand, do a lot of shaping by hand, but that's more work than you need to, right? And we're in that age now where, you know, we're starting into that PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X generation where games and game characters can easily be 100, 150, 200,000 triangle base meshes, right? Unreal 5 and Unreal Engine 5. So we're kind of at that stage where the idea that you can't work with a subdivision surface modifier, even for a game character creature, is a bit antiquated, right? You want to be careful. You don't want to overdo it. We do want to make sure to actually apply these so our low res looks pretty good. But considering that this mesh is only at 5,000 triangles and that is pretty low resolution for the vast majority of pipelines nowadays, we can easily take advantage of that. Now remember, I do have these modifiers right here available, but if you need to, right, you can always apply these one at a time, right? I'm going to go to 4 for object, right? 4 for object mode. You can select the objects you want to work with. And of course, our blue wrench here for our modifiers. Now remember, X will let you delete those, right? I can actually get rid of a modifier if I want to, just by deleting it. Of course, I can do Control-Z to undo. Remember, Control-Z undoes. That's pretty universal for all software. But you'll notice that these little triangles, right, these little V's pointing down, if I click on one of those, I can duplicate this modifier. I can move it to last or first. You can actually grab these little kind of 8 dots, and you can move the order of those, right? But you'll also see there's apply. Now, generally, you want to apply mirror first, right? If I apply subdivision first, you see how kind of the center edge loop is not applying the clipping? And so kind of it unwelds those centers, and now we have this kind of sharper center edge loop. We don't want that. So you want to apply mirror first, right? Then subdivision. And now, of course, we can see that that is our actual low res. We do lose our mirror functionality, right? You see how the mirror no longer works? Why is my tweak not working there? What the heck? Oh, snap. How to get snap on? Okay, turn snap off, right? Accidentally turn snap on, right? You see how the mirror no longer works? Because it's been applied. So as long as that mirror modifier is in the modifier stack, if you will, right? Guess what? That's active. You can always use symmetry, right? So whatever you do on one side is going to happen to the other side. Once that's applied, you lose it, right? It's for real. You're right. See how it's all mirrored over, but you can't interact with one side and it changes the other side. Now, if I wanted to apply all those at the same time, remember, there is this set of plugins, right? This add-on. You might not have it on for yours. Remember, if you go to Edit, right, and you see right at the top of Edit, it's Undo, Control-Z. But Edit menu, at the very bottom of the Edit menu is Preferences, right? Preferences. So I can click on that. Key maps right there, right? Remember, you can always make sure to change Blender to industry compatible. Add-ons, right? The add-ons section. This is where the plugins that Blender comes with are available. Of course, you can install some plugins you bought or downloaded for free. There are many free ones out there. There are some great ones that are paid. And you see I could scroll down here, and we could see that as we get lower down, we could see that there's modifier tools, right? If I uncheck that, you should see that that goes away now. So you see that modifier tools are really a couple of tools for your modifier menu, right? This is your the blue wrench is your modifier menu. So this comes with Blender, right? All of these ones we're talking about so far come with it, right? You don't have to download them. They are add-ons that Blender has provided that come with it, that other people have often made, and then Blender's, the high and mighties at Blender are like, hey, can we just have that as part of the download? And they're like, yep, sure. So these come with Blender. You just have to make sure to turn them on, right? Just like Auto Mirror, right? That we found very useful. Edit mesh tools and loop tools I find are also really cool. It gives us some other things like circle or cut faces that are useful. So remember, these add-ons are very useful. So modifier tools, that's what this is. And what's cool about that is I can just select an object, right? And I can just hit apply all. And that applied all those modifiers for me. So it's a bit quicker and easier than just clicking on each modifier and applying it, right? It's not that hard. It doesn't take that long to apply them one at a time. But that extra little modifier tools is cool because there's an apply all button, right? Where you're like, apply all. And all the modifiers get applied. And now what we can see is we have an actual base mesh that's really only about 6,000 triangles still. That'll work in the vast majority of games. Like I said, the little bugs, the little insects in the new Ratchet & Clank are honestly probably more than this. They really look like they're more like 15,000 triangle models. And when your little flying insects that are small or that polygon count, and your leads are in the 100,000 triangle plus range, you're not dealing with low res that much anymore, right? We could smooth these again and still have a model that would work in almost any pipeline at low res. So we now see, though, that we have an actual low res that looks much better. In fact, at this stage, you could now even do more shaping if you wanted to, right? So one of the things that's kind of cool about Blender is that you'll notice that usually, particularly when you're in edit mode, right? If you're in object mode, you won't see it. But if you go to sculpt mode, right, 5, or edit mode like 2 or 3, you'll see that there is this little XYZ button up here with what looks like kind of a bisected butterfly. Believe it or not, Blender has symmetry for shaping. Now, this symmetry is only for shaping, right? If you wanted to do loop cuts, extrusions, a lot of your other normal modeling tools, it won't work. You have to have the mirror modifier on. But if it's just shaping, you can turn X on up here, and you won't see it, right? So if I double left click, you see how you won't see it on the other side. But if I go to scale, you see how the shape does it on the other side too? And you'll notice that I can now come in here and do even more shaping if I wanted to, right? I've got a lot of new polygons that I could take advantage of for shaping, right? So I could easily double click on that one and maybe double click on that one. Maybe double left click on that one. You see how I could kind of still adjust the shape? Maybe even double left click on that one. And you see how that little symmetry function gives us the ability to at least shape on both sides. If I wanted to extrude, that won't work, right? So if I hit 3 and I Control E for extrusion, you notice how it doesn't do it on the other side? So this symmetry function up here really is purely a shaping function. That is quite cool, though. Very, very useful for sculpting, which we'll see in a couple weeks, really. But really, kind of today's new stuff was about making sure you know that there is statistics right here, that you can actually apply modifiers, right? And that there is that great add-on called Modifier Tools. And of course, there's a search bar up there you can check on that allow you to apply all. And you can now see that our low res looks much better, right? This is now our base mesh, right? So we can actually see that that's all for real. So now that could go in a game engine. It's going to be much better to animate because there's a lot more geometry to deform properly with. Honestly, if you want better deformation, you'd have more mesh, right? But But I wanted to start to get you guys to see that. And like I said, we'll kind of start to explore some UV unwrapping next week. But I just want to get you guys to see how to apply modifiers. That's kind of one of the last stages of our modeling on this. Statistics and symmetry, they're kind of cool things for you guys to get to see a little bit. All right, so I think that'll be it for today.